hiccups. There we go, got a mute mic button. In case you're wondering what I'm doing. It's been a long time since I've streamed, so I'm just setting everything up. So, see, I've got the stream. I can mute the mic, and so you don't hear me vape or cough or sneeze or whatever. The music playing in the background is royalty free by a YouTube channel called White Bat Audio. It's very good. I use it a lot for atmospheric music inside the games themselves. I thought it would be useful for doing the stream, and just something to happen in the background. I will drop the volume a little bit. OBS really does not like Bluetooth headsets, so I've had to cable everything in, which is uncomfortable, but we'll see. Right, so today, what we're doing, I thought, oh, let me just turn the volume down of that a bit more. There we go. I could probably do it in the mixer. There we go. Right, so let me just set up one more scene, which is an application, or one more source actually. So I want an application capture. And just so you can see what I'm doing with this, and it covers up any notifications. So basically, this is a secondary screen. So I've got 3, but you're only seeing 2 of them at the minute. So the secondary screen is going to have the PDF of the source of the adventure where all the information is coming from. Just so you can see. You can't read it, but it's there just so that you don't think I'm just pulling it out of nowhere. So currently, what we've done, or what I did yesterday, I got bored. I finished doing drift crashes. There was nothing left to prep in it. This came in the latest Humble Bundle. So I thought, you know what? We're going to set this one up as well. So yesterday I went through book 1. I created all the journal entries. of the adventure background. This is version 10 of Foundry, so there's a lot of new lovely things to do with journals. So I've gone through and I've digitized everything in the book into the journals in the correct order. It doesn't reorganize every time you change pages, which is absolutely fantastic. I've created all the enemies and NPCs that are mentioned in the book or pulled from the Aeon archives. Some didn't exist, some did. I've created all the hazards, the NPCs for book 1, the ships and the vehicles. So everything has been done. I have extracted all of the artwork and the maps from the PDFs. So let's go to that information. So you can see my process here. So everything I do for Starfinder is in here. For the adventures that I've bought and prepped, Drift Crashers is the one I've finished. That one's ready. With the group I'm with is playing through it already. They're halfway through book 2. And because I don't know the timescales of when they're going to finish that and when Drift Hackers is going to be available, I needed something else for them to be able to do, which gives me a bit of a buffer while I prep Drift Hackers when that comes out in December. So I decided to go with Against the Aeon Throne. 3 books, level 1 to 7 again. It's very simple. You can see I've already extracted all the artwork from the PDF itself using a tool called Token Tool. You just literally open the PDF. It's a bit slow on my computer sometimes. So you can see, you can read through the PDF in here as well, but you can see on the right hand side, you get access to all of the art used in the PDF. So you can literally just put that window over there so you can see it. You can drag it from there into a file explorer window, and it literally exports that file ready to use in PNG, JPEG or WebP format. If you do it in PNG or WebP, you inherit all of the transparency of the file, which is absolutely fantastic. It's the best thing. You can also see, if we get to a page that's got some maps, like I said, it is slow, but I think that's more my computer than anything else. Let's try and find a page with some maps. Please tell me my microphone's not muted. There we go. So this is B5, so let's go back a few pages because there should be a map for B. It's already been detailed. There we go. So you can see the map, and you can see the map comes out the same way as any of the other images. I'll go through how we use those during this stream, because there is a nice simple way to use those as well. But for the time being, I've already extracted all of these. What I haven't extracted for book 2 and 3 though is those backgrounds, because the colour has changed. So let me get that background. This will come in handy for my tokens later. And let's do the same for book. Oh, shouldn't have clicked it. Yeah, that's using the same green as the book 1. So book 3 is the only one that's slightly different. That's fine. So book 3 will do some different tokens. So you can see I'm already using that image as a background for the tokens in book 1. So we'll carry on doing that for book 2, but for now we'll minimize that. So yeah, so you can see I've put all of this information in inside the journals, and that's for the entirety of book 1. Everything is in, all the maps are done, all the tokens are done, and everything's linked onto the maps. So you can see in chapter 1, the maps and the tokens are all there. Some of it's hidden, some of it isn't, all the way up to the very final map of the book, which is here. So you can see I've also put journals, so you can just go to the section of the map and it'll pull up the relevant map for that area. It's how I work. It works quite well for me. It's something I started doing after seeing how the premium modules for Pathfinder were done. I would love to make my journals as flashy as theirs, but unfortunately I don't know CSS, so this is what we've got for the time being. But to start, we're going to start with book 2. So let's just open a new tab. Escape from the Prison Moon. I've found Edge to be one of the better ways to access the PDF because it tends to strip the majority of the garbage formatting out when you're copying and pasting between the two, which is really useful. So let's just zoom in a bit on that. Close the table of contents. There you go. It's a bit easier for me to read. So milestones go in. So they begin at 3rd level. The players should reach level 4 before proceeding to Gulta. And the players should reach level 5 by the end of book 2. So I'll do this for myself. I don't track experience because it gets fiddly and it doesn't always work as well as you expect. So I prefer milestone leveling, so at least I know when they should be the right level for the encounters they're going to be doing. So at the start of every book you get this sort of like advancement track section, which is roughly the milestone levelings. There we go. So a lot of this is going to be data entry for this to start off with, but I'll try and do it a part at a time. So we'll do part 1, then we'll do the maps, the tokens, and everything else. So, as I was saying, when you copy from Edge, it strips out the formatting. Unfortunately, it does strip out paragraphs as well. So I tend to copy and paste a paragraph at a time, because then we know what we're getting. Nope. Now we save that. And there's our adventure background. So you can see I've just numbered it with the chapter heading. So 1, a distant call. What I really, really like about this new version of the journaling is I can apply fonts to certain things which you could never do before. So you can highlight the fact that something is coming up as important. Instead of just making it bold, you can make it really different. What it doesn't do is copy and paste across pages, so you've got to be really careful around that. And then we'll add this one. So with the journals, you could, because prior to version 10, each of these journals would be a separate page. And your journals tab filled up and it looked ugly. Now I can do each chapter as a single journal, and I can put inserts. So I can make this lean times ahead an insert, which means it's almost like tabulated inside the journal browser here, which for me I really enjoy, I really like. Apologies if I go quiet, sometimes I'm concentrating. But if you've watched me before, you know that. Right, so this is where it gets a little bit fiddly. So the coloured text in the AP is stuff that you have to read out to the players. I used to do this one way, and V10 has changed the way I do that, but I can still do what I did, and it still looks really good. So the basic way is just change that to block quote, which puts a bar in front of it. Oh, I forgot to hit return. And you've got to turn that block quote off. See, if this was Pathfinder, I could put these roles directly into a text and paste them to chat, but it doesn't work like that in Starfinder. And this is where the fun comes with Foundry and what it can do and how special it is. So, before they depart, they give them a tactical railgun from Starfinder Armory page 20. So we select tactical railgun, we press Control Space. Doesn't like it, so you find railgun, tactical, you click it, it overrides. And then we save. So what you'll see now, if we scroll down, it's made that a clickable thing that pulls it straight from the compendium, and you can drag that straight to a character sheet. So you can say, oh, here's the gun, who wants it? And they'll say me, and then you just drag it straight to it, and it's in their inventory ready to use. There's not a case of the player has to go looking for it. This is something that has saved me a lot of time during the game itself by putting it directly into the journal. Rather than, oh, you get a tactical ray gun, oh, let's go look for that. And you go to the equipment browser and it takes a while to load up. As you can see, it's still loading across the top. It's very slow. There is a quicker way to do it, but this is how the players have been taught. And you search in here for a railgun. And there's the tactical railgun, and then they drag that to their character sheet. For me, I can just drag it straight from the journal. So the players also have access. So to do what I did, so anywhere you've got a text that, or basically anywhere, you can press Control Space, and you can search for something. This is called Quick Insert. It's a module for Foundry. It will search through any local folders, any local compendiums, any shared compendiums, any system compendiums. So let's say we want some Defrex armor. There you go. We've got Defrex hide right there. And you can click it and it will just open the compendium straight up, and you can import it to your game straight from there, or you can just drag it straight from, so let's go into here and create a new folder, because I like to keep track of what items the journals are giving out. So let's call this to escape from the prison moon. So you can either drag it from the journal itself, or you can search again, and you can just drag that straight into there. And then it's available there as well, and you can share that with the players if they want to see it. But like I said, I just drag it straight to the sheet, whoever says they want it. Again, little tips, something that's helped me going along. So that's that one. See, I'm lucky that this is Starfinder and not Dungeons and Dragons 5e, because the stuff is all, most of the core of the game is in the compendiums already, and I don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. With 5e, so Paizo basically give you all of the text for free. There's a website called Aeon SRD. This is the system resource document for Starfinder. This is legitimate. Anybody can access this, everything. So if we look for that railgun, tactical railgun, there. So it tells you exactly which page of the armory it's on, which is different to what the AP said. That said it was on page 20, but this says it's on page 44. So something's wrong, but anyway. So anybody can go to here, anyone can see the details of it, so they know that it's level 3. But pretty much all of the information that's in there is inside the Starfinder system in the system compendiums. So anything that says SFRPG comes with the game system. So you can go to equipment. This is a bit quicker to load, but still not very. That's why I really like quick insert. Search a railgun here. And that brings up exactly the same information that was on Aeon SRD. Including the source, except the page. So there's still some fixing to do. I'm making notes as I go along, prepping these APs. And anytime it mentions an NPC in the text, I go and create that. So let's create my new folder. Escape from the prison. And these are the typical folders I create, because that tends to be what you get. So enemies, hazards, NPCs, ships. As it's an NPC, create a non-player character, and this one is called Seonzi. It's a lawful neutral. Oh. So I've got a track of what it is. I know the artwork, it already exists, I just haven't uploaded it to the game yet. That reminds me, I can go back and adjust. We'll do that in a second. So part one is literally just a lot of speaking. Okay, we can work with that. So this is where we have to do a little bit of finagling. I like to make these a different colour just so they stand out from the text for this AP, because it seems to be focused on green. That's the one I'm using. So save that. We go back to the standard sheet. The colour change is still there, which is really good. And you can see it stands out when you're flicking through the text. So I need to do the same to this one. So before flying casual, we need to add this second insert. Human woman with brown skin and short black hair. Let's say what she is. Does not, so let's just say neutral. No. Sometimes Paizo gives you the information, sometimes they don't. Let's go back to this one, so I'm not showing off that map all the time. So it's a table, create a new page, Sionis shop. It's going to be level 2. So it's going to be a tiny MCE page because the new one doesn't do tables. So it's 1, 2, 3 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 3 by 14. One, 2, 3, 4. So item, level, price. So if we save that, what you're actually going to see is like that, but we'll center all of those as well. So these are how you link directly into a compendium. It looks messy, but only in the editor. Once you're out of the editor, it looks really nice. So sword, cane, tactical. That's level 1, that's 250. Aeon Stone Iridescent Spindle. It's level 2, 740. Ring of Resistance. Let's find out what spell level Charm Person is first. Charm Person is a first level spell. So this is where you have to get a bit clever. So we're gonna spell gem level 1. Now we drag that into that, times 5. 240 each. So for a bit of context, the players have been to a remote colony. They've freed them from some people that are trying to take over. So there hasn't really been much to do shopping wise. So this is why I think Paizo have added this in at this point of the game. They're travelling somewhere else. They've got some money from winning. And this gives them something to spend it on. Excuse me. Plus I think this AP came out, oh, I didn't put the cost in that one. 5475, 5475. Soldier's going to be, or warrior's going to be red, of course. Viridian. I don't know what half of these things do. But now that it's all in there, we can do that. We can align it center. We can save. We can duplicate this page because I want to test something. So if I now change this sheet back to the default editor, and we save again. Ah, look at that, it stays. So what's really good about this, so we can show this to the players. Except I don't have any players, so I don't have anyone to show it to. Let me just check something. So bring that over to this screen. Oh, it's a bit delayed. Right. So yeah, so that was part one. No maps to do, but we do have some tokens to do. So let's create the tokens for the... no, in fact, we'll do the tokens all in one go at the end. Just because I want to get them all out. So yeah, tokens we'll do at the end, maps we'll do as we go through, but there's no maps to do for this one. And apologies if there's background noise. I have a neighbour upstairs that I can't hear right now because I'm wearing some really good headphones. But occasionally he likes to start drumming randomly. And that's part one. That was really simple. So this is something I put together. I found a nice template online. And what this lets me do, because I've done this in tiles, so I can change the marquee at the top for whatever campaign I'm running. And if we set this to the background, I can change these pictures out to whatever I want. So at the minute, they're pictures that are suitable for book one of the campaign. Oh, and I've done something wrong now. So let's set that to the background again. Let's set this to an overhead layer. Let's set this to the overhead layer. And let's set this to the overhead layer. And if we go back to this one and bring this forward, it sits over these two pictures, but it doesn't sit over these tiles, because these tiles, technically, if you think of this in 3D space, those two tiles are floating above that picture on the bottom. We're just not using the Z. Yeah, axis, the Z axis, that's the word I was trying to think of. So it's just in flat space at the minute. But if it was in 3D space, those would be floating above like a 3D chess table. And it means I can make changes to these images whenever I want without having to redo that every time. And that's something I only picked up very recently. I used to have a lot of trouble. If we go back and look at... Yeah, so this was my original campaign landing page. Now it's cool. It's got some funky bits in it, but it was a ball ache to manage the images in the background and the player characters and everything else. So if we look at, say, this flashing red light, you may notice there's like an opaque something above it. And there's a reason, because if I click on that opaque...
I'm escaping to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism. Space! I'm escaping.
So I put some Easter eggs in that landing page for the original players that I set it up for. And that one was for someone that just kept, every time we talked about Starfinder, he just kept posting that GIF. And yeah, so that's why that's there. But I decided I've been using this for 18 months, almost 2 years now. I think it's time for something new. So I came up with this one last night. I like it. Let's just drag that to the other page as well. Keeping up on all my socials. Oh god, it really is slow. Don't know why, but there's a delay on stream. I don't think I set a delay. Oh, doesn't look like I've set. No, I've got no stream delay set, so that's coming from Twitch's end, which is frustrating. But never mind. Right, so that's part 1 of book 2 done. That was really quick. That was a lot quicker than I was expecting. So now we go to part 2. Outpost Z. You may notice I'm British, I pronounce Z anyway, so. Sounds like the players are going to end up going to something very much like Nashada, which is going to be cool. So this step is just for me. This is just something I like. This isn't something I'd recommend everybody do. I just like making these bits a different colour so that when I'm flicking through the journals at a glance, I can spot, oh, there's something I need to read out here. Even with the tab, I miss it if it's not a different colour sometimes. What we got here is a failure to communicate. Here's hoping the players decide to pick up spellcasters this time. Current group, we have a Nanosite, a Vanguard, an Operative and an Engineer. Makes things difficult if it requires magic. Or an Envoy. An Envoy would be really good. Someone that can restore stamina in the middle of battle. Oh look, we've got a map. We'll do the map. I'll show you the funky tools we've got for maps. We'll get this journal put in first though. And then once this journal's in, we'll do the map. No read aloud text there. So the way I've started doing this now, so that's A, so I'll tell you which map part to go on. So you can see I don't have it up at the minute, but you can see each map normally has a letter. The reason it's not up there at the minute is because chapter 1, all the maps came on one page, and I couldn't be bothered splitting them out because the grid aligned properly. Oh, 1 second, I will be right back. Sorry about that. Where was I? Bear with me. Right. So yeah, so for book 1, chapter 1, the A bit all came on one map. So you can see I've laid it out differently. But you can see at the start, A will tell you which map you're on. And you can see down here that each section of the map, so if we scroll up, you can see the map has labels all over it. And each section of the map, each label will have a corresponding journal entry that will tell you what to do in that bit. So we'll go through setting those up. This first bit will tell you everything that's generally the same in that map. So the height, the doors, the walls, if you want to break them, etc. And then what I do here is in the journal entry itself, we tab it in so it's a bit deeper. So everything under A will be tabulated and you'll be able to see that, oh, that's part for that. So if it's got a CR, it's usually a combat encounter. Doesn't have to be. It can be resolved other ways, but normally there are creatures involved which have a combat rating. As you can see here, we have Dralics. So we go to creatures. They come from the Aeon archive, so they should already exist. Dralic Aeon archive. See there. So now what I need to do, because it's Aeon archive page 36, let's open up another file explorer tab. This is why I said I'd do the tokens afterwards, because I want to make sure I get all the artwork first and I'm doing it all in one go. So because I own all of the Paizo rulebooks, as you can see, have they gone? Rulebooks, there we go. As you can see here, these are all my official Starfinder rulebooks. What I have done is I've pre-extracted all of the artwork from them. So we go to Aeon Archive, we go to page 36, which will actually be page 38 because of the way it works. And this is what a Dralic looks like, apparently. So we drag that in, into this folder, we copy it, and we call it a Dralic. Not to be confused with a Dalek. And as I'm doing that, as I'm importing those to the game, I know I've got the artwork and I know I can make the token for that. So we go back to the rulebook. So there's 2 of them. Times 2. And we've got tactics and block. Set this one as a heading. And just set these ones as bold. Go down, put a line in there. We ignore the statistics because I will add those to the characters. So we'll save that. Look at that, we can see we've got Dralic, we've got the combats, but you can go directly to the tactics. So if this is a really long journal page and there's a lot of information there and you just want to get to the fight information, you can click into the journal and just go straight to the tactics. So it's that heading setting which puts these sub parts of a page. So it's not a journal entry in itself, it's just a tabulated section of that journal entry. But if we click to there, you don't even see it. So you have to click into it to see those subheadings. So what we do now is we go to the Dralic, we go to their inventory. You can see they've only got a lesser shadow staff. So what we need to add now is freebooter armor. Because you know the players are going to want to loot the corpses. So what ammo does that use? I'll leave it as it is. So Shadow Blend Serum. And X-Ray Serum. There we go. So we can attack with both. He's got dark matter. Nice. So these are like Solarians except only dark. Please tell me my microphone's... Yeah, thank God for that. These things are pretty cool. But we'll come back to them later. Right, next, Cantina. Oh, no, we need to... So you can just do it in plain HTML if you know HTML. I don't, so I don't. I like my WYSIWYG editors. anytime it references another area, I tend to bold it. Sometimes I go back and I'll drop in a link. It was more important on the older versions because the journal pages were all separate, but now it's like this. I'll leave it as it is. I'll just leave it bold for now. Next up, A3. To a pair of huge blinking machines. I thought it was going to talk about huge blinking eyes because that thing's ugly. So I said most things are in the compendiums. The one thing that is next to non-existent in all of the compendiums are hazards. So these tend to be created every time. But this one's a poison, so maybe it exists. No. I will do that later. I'll just copy the data in for now and I'll set that up as a specific item. Type poison save. I'll set that as a header. See, it highlights the poison that's important in this section as well. So using headings to highlight things is a really good idea, just so that your eye's drawn to it every time you go into that journal. It is something that FoundryVTT has improved on a lot because I haven't got them. In fact, I do have some older journals, so you can see for the stuff I did for like information and locations, each thing is a separate journal page that I had to share with my players, and browsing through it took forever. So eventually I'll combine all of these into a single journal. It's like player information, and they'll have one journal they'll be able to flick through. So if you go to this, each of these will be a subheading like that, and it'll be really good. But for the time, this is what all of my journals used to look like, and it was horrible. But I needed all that information out of fingers. I didn't want to have to hunt through the PDF all the time. I wanted everything in game so I could just focus on the game. And it works really well. It just now works a lot better. Anyway, let's finish these handouts. A4 truck corridor. I'll just put block text in for now. I won't change the colour, it'll speed it up a little bit, but I will come through and change it back later. Oddhails. Vermin with 10 legs and long piercing tongues. Now, you see these ones do not exist inside the Aeon archive. So we're going to open this up again. I'm going to go to page 58. Actually page 60. Oh, these things are horrible. Notepad. Tail. CR1, XP400. Now, my stat block parser hasn't been updated to V10 yet, so it's still a little bit flaky. But we'll see if it's going to work now that I'm doing a manual step, which is what I didn't do yesterday. Yes. So it doesn't like inventory items really. And it still doesn't because it's not adding an attack to them. So it's melee attack against KC. That's +8 bonus. And it deals 1d3 plus 3 slashing damage. Interesting that it's not piercing. With no critical effect. And harpoon tongue. It has reach, so let's add reach to that. Still a standard melee weapon attack against KC. With a +8, not a +80. It deals 1d6 plus 1 piercing damage. I'll do a test roll. Yeah, that's got +80. We'll fix that. 1d3 plus 1d3 plus 3 plus 3. So let's change that 80, which I didn't notice on this one. But this one also got a +80 bonus to its attack. I'll do one on this one. Normal damage. We rolled a nat 1 for 3 piercing. Evasive. Got a blood explosion. And it's mindless. So it's pulling stuff in correctly, which is good. Got +5 acrobatics, athletics, +13 to climb, with a stealth +10, perception +5, 17 hit points, 11 and 13 AC, 5, 3, 1 for saving throws. Blind sense and dark vision. Takes up half of space, so 2 of them can fit in 1 square. It's tiny. And it's got 30 movement speed with a +4 initiative. Yeah, that was all good. So we drag the Odaheo into the enemies. Go back to where we were. 4 of them. Put the tactics in. Line in, and then we carry on. In a second, that was my work phone. Don't care. Didn't ask. Let's undo that. Bold that out because that's important. Which I don't think exists yet, so I will need to stat that out. It's a disease, it's not nice. A5, then we got A6. A7. This is where we see this also isn't in. Oh, that's an ugly bugger. So we have a Paralith CR4 XP 1200. Yeah, this one's going to end out because it can't have a pistol apparently. But I think that should be the only thing that failed. Oh, that's a nasty bugger. So what was it? It's a cylindrical lens pistol. With one battery. Why is everything frozen? There we go. Plus ultraviolet infection. Whoa, that's a cool effect. Oh, and that's a nice little subtle, someone tries to heal them, they take damage from the ultraviolet instead. Or as well. That's cool. Give the Paralith some more gear apparently. A hat of disguise. A Mark 1 summoning grenade. A Mark 2 ring of resistance. And a smart cable. What does the smart cable do? Interesting. It's worth 4,000 credits. Alright, it's Gambling Nook, Machinery Corner. Right, we're almost done. And then we'll go to the map. And that's where I think we'll finish the stream. After we've done the map. because that's going to take ages to enter, and there's loads of shops, loads of tables. I might do that as a separate journal entry. And then there's a starship combat with some fighting. And then they go to jailbreaks. Yeah, so we'll just do section A for this for now. I'll do the rest myself, because that's just going to be a lot of data entry. So we've done all of the journals up to this point. So now we have a map. If any of you have ever tried to do this yourself for Paizo, you know these maps are absolute garbage. So if you look at the map, if you just tried to import this, you'd probably find that the grid at the edges isn't a full grid. Aligning it can be difficult. The grid consistency, if we zoom in, look at the size between those two squares. The grid isn't consistent across the map at all. It's atrocious. It's got better, but these are still fairly early on into Paizo's digital roadmap, for want of a better word. So there is a tool which I use. So let's close that and relaunch it. Called the Map Align tool. If I post this on YouTube, I'll put links up to that as well. So with this tool, what we can do is we can open Paizo's original map. I tend to zoom into around 400%. Find a square in the top left somewhere and draw a square on that square. It then puts the grid over the top of this map, so we can zoom out a bit. We can see from based on that size square, you can see that it doesn't match across the entirety of the map. So we zoom in again. We go about halfway, so to the middle. We're looking for a square here. So we're going to try and match this red square to this square. In fact, we'll go left. So let's see. No, we'll go right, because we want to match this up eventually. So we'll take this square to this square. So I'm going to add in 1/6 of a pixel. I'm not even sure we're going to be able to do this. This might be too bad for even my tool to do. Let's start a bit closer. Let's first off, let's move this so that the top left is aligned. That's a bit easier. So we now want to make this line up. So I'm going to bring it back. It's a bit better. But it's still atrocious out here. So add 1/6, take 1/8, add 1/6, take 1/8. So I can line it up on this column, but then these columns are out. This is atrocious, Paizo. I might have found a map that I can't fix. So let's try doing it vertically at least, see if we can get that going. I tend to do it by adding a sixth and taking off an eighth until it matches pretty much everywhere. So these additions and removals are 1/6 and 1/8 of a pixel. So at the top where you did the original alignment, it's not too noticeable. Let's move that down again. But you can see vertically it's almost perfectly lined up now, so we just need to do a little bit of tweaking because it's going out by a couple of pixels each square. So if we remove 1/8 of a pixel up here, you can barely notice it. But if we remove 1/8 of a pixel from down here, because we set the grid at the top left, it's a lot more noticeable. So that 1/8 of a pixel per square adds up to almost half a square at this point. So we add a sixth, we take off an eighth. We add a sixth, we take off an eighth. So it's kind of got that lined up again. And it's lined up through the middle. And it's so vertically, it's perfect now. It's lined up across all the rows. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this horizontally. So let's try just lining it. See, look, this column is thinner than this column. So it's like every other column is a different width. If I line it up on this one, we're out over here already, and we're well out over here. So let's bring that back. Well, it's getting closer. So we add a six, we take off an eighth. We add a six, we take off an eighth. We add a six, we take off an eighth. So we're kind of right. And we're kind of right. Add a six, we take off an eighth. Add a six, we take off an eighth. This is one of the worst ones I've seen so far. We'll do one more. That was too much. Right, I think this is about as close as we're going to get it. It's not going to be perfect. But it is what it is. It is what it is. So, we now set the output size of what we want for Foundry, which I use 100. That then tells you what your actual pixel width is going to be. So you can see the original was 1000 by 1400, and we're going to output at 42 by 55. So you're going to get a little bit of blurriness on it, just to be able to use it how I want to use it. And then we save that. So the joy of this is we can save it as PNG. And in the output name, it puts the pixel width for the grid. It puts how many wide and how many high that map is going to be. So you know that that's going to be 4200 by 5500 inside Foundry. But Foundry will do that for you. So we'll save that file. Now, I go one step further. So we've got our resize maps. I then go through GIMP. Photoshop might be able to do it as well. There should be a plugin for Photoshop that will do this. Other drawing packages are available, but GIMP is the one I taught myself how to use. I will also do this for all of the character artwork and everything we're going to use for tokens. We'll create one token just so we can see how it's done. So let's go back into my folder and we create a new folder called WebP. Create a new folder in here called WebP. Create a new folder in here. P. Normally I'd just create one folder, but because I'm just going to do one thing at a time. So we've got a plugin here called Batch Image Manipulation. So BIMP and GIMP. We're going to change the format and compression. We're going to change to WebP. About 90% quality. We're going to change the output folder. We'll do the token image first. We're going to add a single image. Go di Padra e Vosco. And we'll change that to WebP. We're then going to change all of them. Change this folder. Going to go to Maps, Resize Maps, WebP. Add an image. Convert that to WebP as well. I'll show you why once it's finished. And as we've got this already open, and we've got our WebP image over here, we're going to drag the Padre e Vosco into Token Tool. Zoom in a bit so that it's nice and centered. I like to do all of the tokens in one go so I know that the backgrounds are uniform, the frame is uniform, and it's only the image itself that I'm changing. But we'll do one off. So there's the token for her created. Oh, this is still going. Yeah, I can see why. So that resized image map that we just did came out at 40 megabytes in PNG format. Yeah, so this takes a little while. There you go, finish with no errors. And then we'll remove that. We'll add another image. We'll go back up. We'll go to tokens, we'll choose her. We'll change our output. And we'll change that. So there's I'll show you the reason why I do this. This is especially useful or especially important if you're using cloud hosting for Foundry. If you're using local hosting, it's not too important. The players still need to download everything you put into the game to their local computer for them to see it properly though. So the bigger your files are, the longer that takes for the player to download. You tend to get what a lot of people call the grey screen, because say this map was 40 meg, they've got to load that 40 meg every time they log into your game. So we've got our NPC. We'll change the image. So this is my Forge image system. I don't have a folder for this yet, so it's what, Escape from the Prism Moon. Create a folder for maps. Create a folder for tokens. Mirroring that structure. This is just me, this is just my workflow. And then we're going to upload. So let's show you. So let's go to details. So the original artwork for Di Padre Ivosco was 250k. We're going to go into the WebP version, go into details again. It's now 43k, so it's a fifth of the size. So for cloud hosting, you're going to save a lot of space just by doing it in WebP instead of PNG. You don't lose any quality, you keep any transparency that was there on the PNG, like so. Then we go to our prototype token. It's selected that image, so if you didn't want to do tokens, just have that one image and that's already there for your default. But for now, we're going to go to tokens. WebP token. Let's do the same. So my token size in PNG it's 1.2 meg. In WebP it's 83k. So it's even bigger saving on that one. So let's change the resources. So that's all the same. Turn that off. There we go. So we've got a token, we've got an image. Oh, because that's an overhead layer. Yay! So let's give her a bit of height. So let's give her 50 feet of height. There you go, she's on top. But you can see how there, see the token. I've got a lovely little macro that I can show the token artwork, which brings up the artwork we just put in. And that's token, and that's why WebP is important. Size specifically. Just think, we've saved, instead of it being 1.5 meg for that character, we've dropped that down to about 100k. So it's a 15th of the size times the number of NPCs, the number of enemies, everything that you upload or use in that game. You've just squashed that down to 15% of what it would be. You're going to save a lot of performance just doing it that way. And let's do the map. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go into Escape from Prism Moon. We're going to import the map, which is a outpost Z promenade. Now, if this looks a bit blurry, I might even try and run this through an AI upscaler and see if I can get some of the blurriness away. But we'll see how this looks first. So we saw it was 40 meg in PNG format. It's 1.3 meg, so it's an even big. The bigger the file, the bigger the compression, the bigger the saving you're going to make, with next to no loss of quality. So we're going to have a grid. It's 100 grid. Ignore all of that. I dropped my padding percentage down to minimum. I changed my grid to red so that it's visible over the top of the baked-in grid from Paizo. I don't use fog exploration. I don't want darkness controls. I don't want about face. Save. About face is something I use for Starship combat. It's important for that. And there's the map imported. So we can see now, we zoom in, we can see the red grid almost matches up perfectly to the baked in grid from Paizo that was atrocious previously. We've had to modify that map so much, that's why the file size increased. But there's the map in game, almost ready to use. You just need to put walls and stuff on it. But first, what I do is I put the labels on. So A1 is this area here. So I'm going to create a text drawing. Drop it into the square. I'm going to make it 100 by 100 because we know that's the size of our grid. I'm going to give it an 8 pixel wide line in red. And we're going to have the text A1 in audio wide. Where's it gone? Why does it keep moving? Oh, I saw it for a second then. I'm going crazy, I swear. Oh, there it is. Right at the bottom this time. Also in red. There you go. We have a map marker. So we copy that. We put one in here for A2. Put one in here for A3. We put one over here for A4. One in here for A5. One in here for A6. One in here for A7, one in here for A8, one in here for A9. And if you look at our journals, it only went to A9, so we're done. So, it's just a quick update of these text boxes. And this is just in case the journals corrupt or something or get lost, so they're in the map as well as in the journal. Go. Then we zoom out, we select everything and we make it hidden, so now only I can see them, the players can't. And then we go back into the journal. So for A1 we drag that there, for A2 we drag that there, for A3 we drag that, and so on. Be where they fight the Paralith if they want to. They can do some gambling. No, I've got that the wrong way round. A8 is that one. A9 is that one. And there we go. Other than the walls, one map imported, ready to use. Now turn the grid off because I've proved that it's right. And we just use the baked in grid. Set the background to black. Makes it a bit easier on your eyes. And there we go. I'll go through and I'll wall that up later. You can see the walls and the doors, etc. Just need to go through and draw those. So it's just a case of, for curved walls you can use freehand. For straight walls it's just drag and drop. I tend to zoom in a bit more for that normally. I don't have a token to test with at the minute because I haven't got any players in this game yet, but hold down control, you can stitch walls together as you go in. I tend to put a point quite often on the curve, especially put a point everywhere where a wall could join in. I use a module called Wall Enhancements that lets you just join walls together manually. So I can take that cluster of walls and move it together, or I can right click and break it because I think that angle of the wall is too much. There we go, one walled room. You can also add some lighting in, so those things are glowing green. So I'll drag a light, and you can see that the light is going along the edge of the wall that we've just created. Double click on the light. Let's see if this works in V10. I've not tried this yet. It's not as bad as it was, but it's still out of alignment. So you can see this doesn't line up. Oh, it's because I'm on the other screen. So this is actually lining up on the screen down here in the bottom right. So I need to come all the way over to here somewhere. Oh, we've got red there. What red are we seeing? Oh, I can see degrees. So that's the red of the actual. So that's the book icon. So I'll come down a bit here, I think. Not too far. I can see a mouse pointer. Don't know where that mouse pointer is. But that's the colour I want for the light. Oh, that's so much more finicky than it needs to be. I don't know why it's like that. So let's drop the intensity down a little bit. Change that to a... Ooh. Ooh, I've got some new light effects. Let's have a flickering light. Just drop that animation speed to a little bit. Oh, increase it a little bit. And then let's make that an external colour. No. Internal colour? No, don't like that either. Just no. I like the colour burn on the grid though. That works really well. I'm going to use that for something else, I think. Adaptive luminance. Yeah, so that one, it lights up where the colour matches and it just flickers. Yeah, I like that. But it's a subtle effect. Unless the players actually spend some time actually looking at it, they might not notice that flicker because it kind of matches the colour of the map already. But anyway. So yeah, map is imported using the tool. We saw how bad the grid was. We saw how well we've got that matched now. So let's take a token. So let's take Dipadra, the only one we've done so far. Put her into that square. And then put her into that square. It is a little bit of an overlap, but it's a lot better than it would be if we just drag that straight out of the PDF. And there we go. I think that's where I'm going to end the stream. Because that's been almost 2 hours. We've done a bit. I've shown you my workflows. Whether that's going to help anybody out or not, I don't know. We'll see how we go on. If you want me to do any more of that, just drop me a follow, leave me a like, and let me know what you thought. And I will see you next time. Thank you.